various copyright licenses and tools that we can use to create a balance inside that framework where we have to work. So they provide a simple, standardized way to approach this. And it allows you to keep your copyright, whether you're an individual, a company, whatever. While at the same time, letting people know you're allowing certain uses, that you can let people know what you want to do. So this is, Creative Commons terms this a some rights reserved. It's kind of nicer than all rights reserved. I can hear George Carlin doing this. It's all rights reserved, some rights reserved. So anyway, this is a really neat way to do this. And this combination of users and tools is creating a large and growing bigger every day community of people that are using these things. And they're creating content that can be copied and distributed, used, built on, all within the boundaries of copyright law. I just think this is a fantastic idea. So Creative Commons has worked with copyright experts around the world to make sure that their licenses, which I have on this slide, are legally solid, globally applicable, and responsive to their users' needs. Wow, imagine that if the US government had done that. Now, for those of you who wish to opt out of copyright altogether, Creative Commons offers you a public domain solution. You can actually you can have a public domain mark that you put on your work and says, yes, you can do whatever you like with this. I think that is amazing. But that is allowing you to place your work squarely in the public domain, so there's no question on the part of any user who might come upon your item, upon your creation. Now there's some advantages here of using these licenses. And of course, it allows you to retain your copyright, but it also allows other people to do things with your stuff. I think it's really a great thing, at least non-commercially. Now there are commercial licenses in there too, but each Creative Commons license ensures that you get credit for your work. I think that is, because you should get credit for your work. You've done all that, that creative energy and that, it takes time and effort to do that stuff. It does, as I said, each of these licenses works globally, and it lasts as long as the applicable copyright lasts, because, of course, as I said, they're built on copyright law. So these common features actually act as a baseline on top of which you can choose to grant additional licenses or additional permissions to people as well when you're deciding on how you want your work to be used. So these licenses do not affect exceptions and limitations to copyright law, like fair use. Fair use is still applicable here. Within the bounds of fair use, users of creative works that are otherwise protected by copyright might still use your works. They might still be able to use them. Creative Commons licenses require users or licensees to get permission to do any of the things with the work that the law allows, that the law reserves exclusively for those copyright owners. The licensees have to credit the licensor, that's the person who owns the license. They have to keep copyright notices intact on all copies of the material that they use, of the work that they actually use. And they have to link to the license from the work where they've inserted this item. And licensees cannot use technical measures to restrict access to those works by other people. That's an important point to remember, because they've given you permission to use these works. They don't want you to prevent other people from seeing what you've done with it. You have to make it publicly available. So, oh my God, God, we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Shoot. All right. Well, I have some little discussion questions here, and probably these are things, I don't think we'll really go into those today, but you can look at them, and if you know, really, let's talk about the first one here. Okay, so this is town's created a book of facts about the town. Can those facts be used in an advertisement for a new condo development?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they can, as we mentioned earlier. Facts are facts. An English teacher at your school is planning a book discussion group, decides to put a website up with a list of the books and an image of the cover of each of the books. What do we think about that? I think we can, I think this is fine. This is something we can do because I don't think this is really so much of a copyright issue. It's less of a copyright issue than it might seem. Because actually the publisher, they probably got this from something like Amazon, and the publisher actually owns the copyright, or the author maybe owns the copyright. But when you think about those fair use factors, I think we can say there's no effect on the market for this because it's promoting the purchase of this. So I think it's a win-win situation. We don't even have to look at the other factors to say, oh, well, that's really the most important here. So this guy wants to use an image, it's protected by, he knows that the image is protected by copyright, but if he, oh, we've gone through this already, manipulating, creating a derivative image. So we know that, there's really no certain percentage of an image. I think that there might be some guidelines out there from ALA on how much of a work that you should consider using or not using or whatever. But they don't really have the force of law behind them. However, they're good rules of thumb. So anyway, there is no actual thing that says, okay, you can only use 10% of an image and it's not infringement. Very difficult. Okay, so I've got a slide of resources, and I've got the Copyright Office, and here's the Peter Hurdle chart, copyright in the public domain in the U.S., and the digital copyright slider from ALA. Again, this slide might be kind of dark in your thing there, so if you can't read it very well, let me know, and I will send you a light background image of this.
I just have a quick comment. The Association of Research Libraries, ARL, just put out a new code of best practice for fair use. It's actually pretty good because it is sort of emphasizing sort of taking a little bit more risk and being very reasonable about that. It's mainly for academic and research libraries, but it's useful for everybody. I would suggest going and getting that. It's the Association of Research Libraries, ARL, and just look for the code of best practices. And you can, it's free online, or you can actually request a little booklet from them and they'll send it to you. But it's very helpful.
Thanks so much for mentioning
Yep.
that, Carlos. I forgot to put that
Brand
in here,
new,
but
yeah.
I just saw that the other day, and I had already sent this out, and I should have put it in my notes, but that was a great comment. More resources. If you've not seen these delightful little things, A Fair Use Tale, please have a look. All of these 4 videos were made with little snips of Walt Disney films. Oh my gosh! So I think it's very appropriate to learn copyright. And one of my favorite things is the word copyright does not occur apparently naturally in any of the Disney films, so they have to use 2 different characters to say the word copyright, so it comes out copy. Right. I love it. These are really great, and they're very short, but they're fun. And it kind of gives you a basic overview. And then my last slide here, this is actually a quote from the video that's listed in the image credits. This is from a 2005 copyright ruling by Chief Justice Alice Kaczynski here. The video in the credits is called the Amen Break. It's about a 6-minute drum solo that has been used for many years, 6 seconds, sorry, 6-second drum solo that's been used and reused and reused and reused from I think it was from the 1970s. It's really, actually, it's about a 20-minute video, and there's a link to it on the next slide. But I recommend it. It's really interesting. It's just fascinating how this little 6-second snippet of drum solo and how they talked about fair use and this, to me, this says that maybe attitudes are changing out there in the judicial world. That I think that I agree. Overprotecting intellectual property is as harmful as underprotecting. So again, I urge you to claim your right to fair use, use those 4 factors to determine it, and do not let the copyright law strangle your creativity, ever.